Welcome to Dynamite the Life, 3 days before Full Gear. I am very interested in this pay-per-view, and this show being more of a face-to-face show than anything else, setting up for Full Gear was done quite well. Now, I'm sure not everyone's going to agree with everything that happened on this show, because you're not supposed to. There's always going to be something different for everybody. But I do believe they executed it pretty well. Mind you, maybe they might have oversold it a little bit in certain areas, but I do believe they did pretty well. We got the match of MJF and Wardlow versus Ortiz as well as Sammy Guevara. Now, something in my eye, sorry. Before the show even started, you got MJF facing a champion in a Chris Jericho. Pretty much having a little banter beforehand. And then the match happens. Was this a good match? Yes, it really spotlighted Sammy Guevara and Wardlow very well. This was not about MJF per se, because we already know what's going on with MJF. He's going to have his match with Chris. And this really spotlighted more of Sammy Guevara as well as Wardlow, who is a freaking beast. Now, of course, MJF won. I didn't expect him not to win. He had to. And we got a little bit of Jeff Hardy interference because he wanted to nail Sammy Guevara because of their match at Full Gear. But what I didn't expect, which isn't something that isn't surprising, but I didn't expect it, was that once the match was over, MJF was walking away with Wardlow. He runs over to Chris, who was on commentary for the entire night. He tries to beat the crap out of him and bust his head open. They had to separate the two. This is one of about 3 times they had to separate several people in this show. Now, that could be a bit obsessive. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect in all circumstances, but in this situation, because of how they structured most of these storylines, it's understandable they had several fights. Now, if this was a WWE, it would be overkill. Mostly due to the fact that we're trying to compensate for their feuds, because their feuds are just trash, except for 2. And I'm saying 2. And you know the 2 that they are. Anything else doing these fights would be to try and compensate for such bad booking and such bad storytelling. Here, it adds to the storytelling, it adds to the booking. And seeing Chris smiling because MJF showed such aggression, I believe it's in my face, that wasn't bad. Now, we had several vid packs, more than a few of them. FTR and the Bucks was a good one. It basically, it's not something we haven't seen, but it is something good to see that they had to do it. Trying to show what the Young Bucks are dealing with, what FTR is dealing with. And then we have their match, and I'm going straight to their match. I'm skipping around. We had Private Party versus the Bucks, and Matt trying to sell his injury of his ankle. Now, he did it more and more often during the match, which wasn't too bad. Nick had to do most of the heavy lifting, which is understandable. If you're going to try and sell the ankle problem, you have to do it this way. And in the end, I was not surprised the Bucks won here. I wasn't. Private Party did well. I still do believe they need to change up their style. I do believe that. There's nothing wrong with them being the party boys, but they don't feel like party boys the way they're dressed. They feel like kids that used to be from another promotion, carrying their style from that promotion and did not really evolve themselves. That's just me. You guys can tell me below. But when it came to the end of that entire situation, when FTR was about to take out the leg of a Matt and making it watch, you got Kenny as well as Adam coming out to try and save their butts. Now, here's the thing when it comes to that segment. All 4 members of the Elite there, fine. I have no problem with it. It's good to see it. Now, the question is how they're going to structure Kenny and Paige. Now, both of them had interviews. One from Sammy Guevara. One from Tony Schiavone, and that was for Kenny Omega. He made it very clear how important this was, and he doesn't have any animosity supposedly against Paige, but still, this is about him. And then you have Adam Hangman Page, who is still drinking, who was with JR, and JR notices that he's acting afraid because he's drinking. Now, that's not something I'm not surprised about. I've known people to drink to try and hide their pain or their fears. Luckily, I've never drank, but it doesn't mean I don't have pain and fears. Honestly, I'm telling you guys, you won't believe me because you think I'm lying for my damn teeth, but I'm telling the truth. My crooked teeth that I really need to get fixed. I really rarely ever drank in my life. 20 times in my life, not counting 2 times when I was 3 years old when I drank, vodka and orange juice for my older half brother by accident. I think it was 2 times, maybe 3. That I accidentally drank and I didn't know what it was. I consciously drank 20 times. That's max. I just had no interest in drinking. But I've known people to drink. And seeing how they're trying to make Hangman Page act like someone who's a drinker, who's really having problems, who's afraid, it's a little corny. It isn't 100% accurate. But it isn't 100% not accurate. I say it's like 50. It feels like on the edge of being almost accurate, but it is playing. And I would rather see him more not drinking and taking this really seriously. And then if he loses, then he can go crazy on the liquor. That's just me. You guys tell me below. We had Miro versus Trent because of the video arcade. Now, here's the thing for me. I got no problem with Miro. I like Miro. Now, mind you, he's still acting like, let's be honest, he's still acting like Rusev. The only thing he's done is change the names of Rusev Crush to Game Over. He's still mostly doing the same thing he normally does. But that made him who he is, and that's why a lot of people liked him for who he was. So he's not going to change his formula. But the thing that I wish they had built up better, they said on commentary that Trent once was Rusev's kind of like mentor. And in Japanese culture, the one that is over you, your senpai, the one who teaches you and shows you the way you're supposed to be and helps you on your way. Now, if they had that actual story, why wouldn't they build this going into Full Gear? There could be a real strong reason why Trent got his ass nailed by Miro. And I truly believe if they had that actual interaction in real life back in WWE and FCW, why not play off of that and put that into Full Gear, build this up for the next couple of weeks to a month, and then throw it on there? Putting it on this match did not help me. It wasn't a bad match. And they are going to have I believe they're going to have a match at Full Gear. Best Friends versus Miro and Sabian. But still, why not have Miro versus Trent, mostly due to the fact, not because of the arcade, but because Miro still has a chip on his shoulder because of what happened in WWE. And because of it, and because Trent in the back has been kind of saying, here, let me help you. Let me be your teacher again. Let me help you, guide you through AEW. That pisses him off. And you go there. And I truly believe that it would help. Of course, they couldn't have no footage from FCW. WWE would never do that. But it doesn't mean they couldn't still play it up and make it about what happened in Japan and in FCW and both of them learning. That's what I think should have been done. That's just me. You guys tell me below. And Orange Cassidy looked good there. Now, the vid pack of Pac. Oh, it's been a while seeing this man. 7 months. Now, as far as I understand, he's coming back. Now, I don't think he can fly here yet, but I'm sure they want to make sure people don't forget about Pac. The question is he actually back in the country yet? You guys can tell me below if he's come back to the country yet or not. As far as I know, he's still in Europe. He's still in the UK. So he has not left yet. But I can understand if he's able to come back here soon because maybe the flight restrictions will finally be lifted and he can finally come back. And that's what we need. Pac made it very clear in that video. When you're trapped with no one to play with, you become more hungry, you become more crazy, you become more interesting. And seeing with all those images of himself, I believe in his own home, was a nice touch. The question is he back in the country or not? Will the flight restrictions, if he's not back in the country, be lifted soon so he can come back in the country? That is going to be the question. You guys tell me below what you think. Now, Nia Rose versus Red Velvet with Brandy by her side. It's good to see that Red Velvet. And I got to say this about Red Velvet. I do like Red Velvet. I have not looked at Dark. But from that one match, in her way that she acted, she was better than Britt Baker. If anybody's a big Britt Baker fan, I'm sorry. Red Velvet just seems to be a better performer and looks like she has more charisma. In that short amount of time I saw in the ring. She just shows charisma in her work. Now, it doesn't mean she isn't green. She feels a bit green. But she does have more of something. And then you got Nia Rose dealing with Vicky. And here's the thing for me personally. I'm sure Nia is having a treat working with Vicky. I'm sure she's always loved Vicky. I've always loved Vicky. But seeing they don't show any video packages of Nia Rose on Dynamite. They may do it on Dark, but not on Dynamite. They don't show her training. They don't show her talking with Vicky and letting Vicky do what she does best, talk. Just feels like a waste. Why do you have Vicky with Nia Rose if you're not even going to put her on Dark and then make her mean something? The match was quick. She destroyed Velvet, even though Velvet did a pretty good job. And in the end, when Shida was at the side, as she always is, and I don't understand why they don't have Hideko Shida. I believe that's her first name. But why don't they have Shida talk more? She speaks English. I don't understand. You got a champion in a woman, and you don't put her on Dynamite. You don't let her talk much. You don't give her any feuds. What is the point of the women's title if you're not giving the women feuds? Barely at all. You're not letting them do any video packages. You're doing the men. And here, you're getting Nia Rose her shot to get the title. And Vicky supposedly set it up. How would I know that until now? It feels like it should have happened a week or two ago. 2 weeks ago, this should have been set up. Yes, we got a fight, which was a good thing. It was a nice fight. It made it important how Nia wanted to take the head off of Hideko Shida. And I just wonder how far they're going to go with Nia Rose if she does win back the title again. Or is she going to be exactly the same way? Now, Face Off. We got 2 face-offs. No, 3 face-offs. We had the face-off of Paige and Kenny Omega during that situation with FTR. We had the face-off. Well, actually, let me put it like this. The match between Dark Order, Cody, as well as the Gun Club with Austin Gunn. You know, this is the first time I've ever seen Billy Gunn's son actually wrestle. He's not too bad. He's not great. He still feels a bit green. But he does look like he's got potential. And the match there was good. It wasn't great, but it was good. In the end, the faces won, which I wasn't surprised. But we did get that talk face-to-face of Darby Allin and Cody Rhodes. Just like what's going on with Kingston and with Moxley. I'll cover them in a moment. But let's put it in this respect. When the match was over, Cody grabs the mic. And he puts over Darby Allin saying, look, you don't think, this is what Darby believes, you don't think that you are wanted by TNT management and TNT because you're so different. That's far from the truth. Because I'm the one who pushed for you to join. Now I'm the one to prove that you had the ability because I had to be the one person to wrestle you. I felt that was good and important to see because that is the truth. Cody was the one who did wrestle. So he did put him over. Which I wish, honestly, Darby Allin would also be put over by Mick Foley. That's just me. I do believe Mick Foley should help Darby Allin because I still believe that he is the second coming of Mick Foley. He just feels like it. But he made it very clear that, look, I brought you in. I wrestled you to prove that you have the ability and you have shined. And I know you want this shiny title of mine, but, and this is it, it's not that you don't have the ability. is that this isn't your time. He didn't say this directly, but this is what he was implying. It is my time. I am the face of the company. This is the A title, because he's kind of making this important. No problem with that. Eventually, we're going to have Moxley versus Cody if they both still have the titles. They will challenge each other eventually. It's going to happen. Doesn't mean they're both going to take each other's titles, but it will eventually happen that the AEW champion and the TNT champion will face one another, but he made it very clear that this is the A title. And it felt really well done. I know everyone else is not going to 100% agree with it, because maybe Cody was doing a little bit too much and being a little too corny about it, but I do believe it was effective. Finally, face to face, Moxley, Kingston. Neither one of them can touch each other if they want to have this match. And this was the best thing of this show. Because for me personally, these two, I do believe, were being very real to one another. I do believe that they actually made an agreement between each other, including Kingston's own mother, that, and I bet you this is actually true, because Kingston and Moxley have always stated that they always want to incorporate the real stuff into it, and they're always being honest. Kingston said in his own interview with Chris Van Vliet how he acts, and also Dynamite, when it came to Tony Schiavone and when it came to Alyssa Edwards. But when it comes down to it, how real this felt, seeing how pissed off Kingston was, saying that when I win, I'm taking this damn title to my mom. I'm going to say, this is the reason why you don't have a grandchild. This is the reason why you don't have a daughter-in-law. This is it. This is nothing else but this. And he made it very clear again. I don't want to be like this. I spent 18 years doing my best, honestly, to get things done, and nothing happened by being good, and I got what I want being this attitude. And in between that, seeing Moxley wanting to talk to his friend and making it very clear, honestly, he loves him still. As much as he don't want to do it, he does love him. He sees the reason why he's acting like this, that he struggled for 18 years, and that he made the promise to his mom that he would watch out for him, even if he is way out of his league or is a danger to himself. He will watch out for him. And he's not keeping his word. So when it comes down to it, he made it very clear. I understand your rage. I understand the reason why. Maybe it's because you know you can't get it done. And that's the reason why you did this. That's the reason why we're here. But when this happens, you're going to tap. And then not tap. You're going to say, I quit. I'm going to make you quit. I think he really wanted to say also, I want you back too. The way he was acting after it was over, when Kingston left the ring, he was upset. And that was good acting. Not great acting, not incredible acting. It wasn't bad acting, it was good acting. So we got several storylines that are going into full gear. Admittedly, a few of them should be a little better. Like what's going on Miro and Trent. I think they could have done something with the senpai and the student with the teacher. I think they could have done something with that. But in general speaking, this wasn't a bad show building into full gear. I don't agree with absolutely everything, particularly what's going on with Nia Rose and Hiro Kushida, if I'm pronouncing her first name wrong. I believe I'm pronouncing it wrong. I'm sorry, guys. I'm bad with names. But even with that, this looks like to be more interesting than Survivor Series. And that's with Jey Uso and Roman Reigns and Sasha with Bayley. Depending if Sasha retains this Friday, because we all know the WWE and Vince don't, well, take it back. Vince doesn't always let Sasha keep her title long. Vince is the one who makes the decision if she keeps the title. And if she drops it this Friday, once again, we see how Vince's mentality is. He doesn't care. And that's only two things in WWE I am interested in watching. We got Adam Page and Kenny Omega. We got Cody as well as Darby Allin. We have, well, we got Moxley and Kingston along with Trent. And I do believe if there is a real story between Trent and Miro, you could say in that tag match you'll see it. You also have, well, the The Natural Nightmares going up against the Butcher and Blade because of how Bunny just treated QT Marshall. I don't really want to mention much of it because it's a very weak feud, but it is also there because it has a history. This has more story than the WWE even could dream of right now. But this is just my point of view. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace!